Welcome to The Edge of Show, your gateway to the Web3 revolution. We explore the cutting edge of blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFTs, ordinals, DeFi, gaming, and entertainment, plus how AI is reshaping our digital future. Join us as we bring you visionaries and disruptors pushing boundaries in this digital renaissance. This show is for the dreamers, disruptors, and doers that are pumped about where innovation meets culture. This is where the future begins.
Hello, I'm Josh Krieger. Welcome to a special edition of the Edge of Show. Formerly Edge of NFT, we are live from the Sandbox US office in Los Angeles as the Sandbox Awards 2024 event. Today we're in the heart of the metaverse with none other than Sebastien Borget, the co-founder and COO of The Sandbox. From empowering creators to redefining gaming and beyond, Sebastian has been at the forefront of Web3 innovation, leading one of the most influential platforms in this space. Stay tuned as we explore the future of the metaverse, the results of Alpha Season 4, and what's next for Sandbox in the blockchain gaming world. Let's hear it for Sebastian. Thanks for joining. So things do feel a little bit warmer. I was checking the charts yesterday, and I think sand is up 300% this month. That was fun to learn, not financial advice, obviously. But I think it bangs the question that everyone asked you a million times during the depths of the bear market, which is sort of where is this metaverse going? It's been called everything, right? From the future to the graveyard, a fad. What's your take on the current state of the metaverse?
Well, I think we're all here to prove that it's far from dead. It's pretty active, actually. Really excited. We'll be literally breaking records. Recently, you mentioned the Alpha Season 4. That's been the largest event that we worked on. We launched it 10 weeks ago. We're literally in week 10 right now. And we got more than 500,000 players engaging through it, playing an average of 2 hours time, exploring close to 100 experiences live. Those 100 experiences featuring 40 major brands partners. So not only we are agencies in the metaverse, we are top brands, top partners like Attack on Titan, Terminator. We have Playboy, Love Island, Kira Bear, Jamiroquai, Hell's Kitchen, Chupa Chups, many. So a lot, great showcase of content from the US and global. And we also had an amazing conversion of that audience. They're not just here to play, to earn, but they also have been engaging in Web3, purchasing all the different digital assets that we are available. So we sold more than 300,000 NFTs. We generated 1 million blockchain transaction. And so at the end, after that,
It's just this season?
Yeah, just this season. Some of the Avatar collection sold out.
Obviously, I'm your graveyard.
No, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of what's been happening at Sandbox this year. Beside the Alpha Season 4, we've continued to do what we've been doing quite consistently before, land sales, avatar sales, bringing brands, top partner to have this footprint through a land into a neighborhood on our map and allowing their fans to become the neighbors of those. We did do net sale with Attack of Titan. It totally sold out. We have Keycomb land sale, and it's close to sold out. I think there's literally 10 lands left. So if you really want to be King's School of Island, neighbor, you got to grab that quickly. All the avatar sales we've introduced, so there's more than close to 25 branded collaboration we've done. Also really sold well. And it didn't, of course, just sell in 10 minutes, at the peak of the market. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that we keep onboarding users to explore the content. And that's all from the brand side. And from the creator side as well, because I believe Metaverse is massively going to be UGC driven. We celebrated 1,500 games published and live on our map in 1 year. We just held the award. So if you didn't watch it live earlier today, the award was a ceremony that celebrated the top creators and all the diversity of content and gameplay from our ecosystem. And there was a great moment for people to see what's happening.
Let's give it up. Congrats for all of that. That's amazing.
So, and that was just Sandbox. So the other thing, like I was watching the news, like the metaverse in general, it's something that we're very focused to build at Sandbox with Web3. But there's other actors in the ecosystem thinking about Epic, thinking about like Roblox, even Meta, Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook. They haven't stopped building anything around the metaverse. So like there's a lot of force at play. I think it's going to take quite naturally a longer time to actually achieve the overall vision and adoption, and maybe expectation from the market or the media were a bit too optimistic that back in 2021.
There's a lot of interesting facts that you shared, but what stood out for me is you said 40 brands were actively part of this season. And, I think I always anticipated the brands needed to come to make Web3 truly fertile and give it longevity. So it's great to see those brands are still in the game. Are there any anecdotes from like leaders of brands that you talk to about their experience working with you, or like just fun stories you have about any of the collaborations this season?
Like the one thing that's, like brands have like those huge audiences. They have like all those fans, and sometimes they always wonder like how we're interested by Web3, we're interested by this new technology, but we're not familiar like how we can get into it concretely. And Sandbox is a fantastic platform for them to onboard, because like they don't have like all the complexity of like understanding tokens and tokenomics. They don't have all the complexity around like building of writing code and smart contract and all the security aspect. We just make it simple for them to offer a way to engage and reward their fan through NFTs, through some token, and to also even like benefit from the creativity of our community. So basically we match brands and creator together. That's a strong value proposition. And they also are surprised that bringing many brands together, like we're doing, instead of just one at a time, is actually creating a very positive cumulative effect. So fans of Attack of Titan came, fans of Hellboy, fans of Terminator, but they didn't stay just for one brand, because just like in the real, we're not just for one thing. They are staying to explore through the season. The livelets give a meta gameplay that allows the player or fan from one brand to stay and like explore more content, growing the audience. So there is this really nice network effect happening as well. In terms of like anecdotes or fun story building,
some of the war things that happened working with some of these brands, or maybe a text you got from one of the executives when they sold out their land or something.
Well, you got me here. Like, so the one thing is like, I have an amazing team that's directly working with the brand. So I'm not in contact directly myself with the brand. All I get is like, if something is really going wrong, they get to me. And the good thing is like, nobody got back to me. So apparently, meaning that everything went well.
I think that says a lot about how much Sandbox is growing. And I know this office is one of many offices you have around the world. And in a lot of sense, you've sort of decentralized your organization. I had the pleasure of working with your team in Riyadh and in Asia. Sort of what have been sort of some of your big goals during the building phase of Sandbox, or the quieter times in our industry that have sort of prepared you and equipped you for this moment?
So there's one thing I don't believe. I never believed is like, like metaverse is dead. So I never believed it that, obviously. But Web3 is dead. Like nothing is happening. Nobody is buying NFTs and so on. So I think it's always a matter of like looking at the markets given it's our niche markets where things are actually happening. And 2 years back, when we saw like there was a lowering interest from the Western side, the US and Europe, actually we stopped looking at Asia and we thought like, well, actually it all started in Asia somehow. Sandbox had been acquired by Animoca Brands, a company from Hong Kong. Our first investors were Square Enix in Japan, Hashed in Korea. Korea has been one of the leading markets for the metaverse in terms of like Sand adoption. and like the number of grants and partners, Hong Kong as well. So for the past 2 years, we've shifted focus in all those, in the broader Asia region, Southeast in those markets, as well in like new developing market in GCC, in Saudi Arabia, that are opening the themselves to culture, entertainment, and Web3. And we thought like we have to become like to be present to show like what we can do it, because we already have a platform, a tool, and so many examples, and we have passion team on the ground. We didn't bring big team. It's usually 1-2 people on the ground that represent Sandbox, and bringing always the same brands, creators, and an ecosystem around that wants to interact us. And that has been a success recipe for Sandbox to grow. Asia represents 40% to date of like our user base, or partners, number of landowners, etc. Saudi Arabia is the latest addition to the countries where Sandbox is present. We have team in Singapore, in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Hong Kong, in Korea, in Japan, in Turkey, in India. And every market has different aspects and culture. Some countries, they are not yet... cryptocurrencies by itself is, I wouldn't say, so either like not allowed or a gray area. So China and Saudi Arabia fit with that definition. Saudi Arabia is not necessarily legal or illegal. You don't really know, but there's something that's interesting where Free and Sandbox provide as a solution. And there's market where actually adoption of crypto is the largest, and that's Southeast Asia, for example. And Sandbox is very well positioned there because of the brand and creator approach and the gamification behind that people could see and play.
But that explains why I saw you all over the world, in Hong Kong, in Bangkok, in Riyadh, where you spoke at Outer Edge Riyadh, and I can sort of assure the audience and our listeners at home, there's a lot of interesting things happening in the MENA region in Saudi Arabia, where you have a population that the average age is 35. And
indeed, like in all those territories, like sometimes more than half of the population is like Gen Z, 30 or below. Saudi Arabia is very interesting because also the gaming market in general, I think that they are the number one in the whole MENA region in terms of like purchase power, playing, and the government has been really pushing first with esports. Like it's been amazing, like everything that's been put in place in terms of like empowering their population through gaming. We were at that conference where we heard Pritz himself talk about his vision of like how gaming is a great equalizer of chances and opportunity for the citizen, his country and population. And I think like Web3 as well. And that's why they're really deeply looking at embracing it. And
yeah, 100%. And I think that does a follow-up question though is how do you balance fun and financial incentives with sort of a broader market play? We know at this point you crank up the financial incentives and you end up with a graveyard pretty quickly, right? So how are you sort of looking at that balance these days?
Well, I think first of all, it's pretty fun to earn. In general, like everyone is happy to earn something. And before, like if you think about like mobile gaming and free to play, anything you earn was virtual. But there was always this constant dopamine effect. Like any action you did, there's this reward that makes you feel happy, you progress, you level up, you complete the tutorial, you click a button, and wow, everything is so amazing. Web3 has been like turning those moments into actual real giving like real value to those rewards you were earning before. Like it was not just like purely virtual. And then it's all about product and focus on gameplay. And that's something that, again, at Sandbox, we're very hyper-focused on. Like, you don't imagine the number of meetings we have internally to understand how we deliver good, like, 3Cs, like camera control and character, so, like, we make it enjoyable. I must recognize that Sandbox probably 2 or 3 years ago wasn't as fun as it is today, but we've continued to ship regular updates, adding like new rules, much better gameplay, different improvement that makes the game load much faster, more fun to play. Without a good product, at the end of the day, the financial incentive alone aren't sufficient. But if you have both, actually, that's where like the success will like trigger out.
Let's take a pause to shout out one of our favorite partners. For tech innovators facing legal challenges, Zuba Lawler is your go-to law firm. They focus on understanding your technology and business model before addressing legal requirements. Specializing in blockchain, AI, VR, AR, quantum computing, and more, Zuba Lawler offers expert guidance in capital raising, IP transactions, M&A, litigation, and compliance. Visit zuberlawler.com, that's ZUBERLAWLER.com, for cutting-edge legal solutions. Yeah, right on. That makes a lot of sense. And I was going to ask you sort of how you've evolved, how your vision has evolved since when you and Arthur founded Sandbox. Sounds like there's been more of an orientation or progression towards Spawn, but what are some of the other sort of evolving attributes of Sandbox since the beginning of the journey?
I would say like the first thing is like we've been very consistent about like the mission, the vision and the mission statement. Like it's something that you cannot say for a lot of web tech, but at Sandbox since we started, how do we empower creators? How do we empower anyone to become a creator through accessible tools? And we focus on the tools. We've been very creator driven. 2024 was the years of the creator. That's what we announced. And we shipped on the new game maker 010. That new game maker has really improved like the quality and diversity of gameplay, the loading time, and ultimately helped us to launch this season 4 with people really in terms of quality, fun, and gameplay. We've also shared like from the beginning, we embraced blockchain and NFT to allow the creator to monetize and to give out power of decision making, of like ownership of the land and the world that you're building together through the land, through the SAM token. And this year we shipped the DAO that was in May. Through the DAO, the community had been able to submit 16 proposals, vote on them, and there's been of conversation on the forum. And now we recently introduced the delegates as well to represent the community. So we've been constantly delivering on the vision and not trying to chase the last hype. Like we're aware about things happening about Bitcoin, around like Telegram mini app, etc. And it's amazing. It keeps growing and bringing user certain quality manager in the space. But we didn't say, oh, our strategy is Telegram. We say the network effect with Telegram is amazing, but we are first to focus on what we're building at Sandbox and see how we can bridge with that ecosystem somehow at some point. I think people appreciate that consistency as well.
Yeah, 100%. Hamster Combat was fun, but I didn't appreciate that $6 airdrop for all that work that I did, clicking buttons. Tell me a little bit more about what we can expect in 2025 in terms of the technology, the experience. What's some of the new ground that you'll be breaking this upcoming year?
But I don't know if there will be anything major groundbreaking. Like we cannot like revolutionize every year what's happening. Like in my mind, like big major technological shifts happen roughly every 10 years. But what we want to do next year is like just like keep doing better what we are doing great already. So basically the Alpha Season 4 has been showing us the way, like what work with live out and events. So instead of doing one season, we'll be doing 4 seasons next year. A bit shorter, a bit less content, because 100 expert at 10 weeks was quite a lot. So we'll adjust and test around that. We'll continue to ship product updates. We gave today a little teaser of what's coming on the Game Maker 011 release to some of our top creators who came in person in Los Angeles. And I think they were quite excited about those new possibilities. What they will make with this will allow us to keep increasing the fun, the engagement beyond. Beside that, we are also like one of the focus area and remains Web3. So how do we continue being a pioneer in Web3 and decentralization? So the DAO will continue to evolve to make sure like participation, engagement, and it creates impact by having governance for the community. And we want to evolve the Sandbox. That's maybe the biggest shift. Let's see. People think like Sandbox is only the current Sandbox platform with a game maker and the game client and so on. But for us, like I think Sandbox can be a much bigger gaming ecosystem. We already see that the Sand token, which is like a top 5 token according to CoinMarketCap, is being adopted by other games, by other platform events. Its utility has increased. So earlier this year, we launched the Voxel Games program. We already partnered with 2 game studios, Fright Game and Dev House. The Voxel Games program intends like to publish or co-produce game with third-party developer studio, games that are built with Unity or Unreal, that are published on App Store, Google Play Store, Epic, Steam, etc. So other store platforms than us. And those games, they will just have like Voxel graphics, and they will have the possibility to connect to the wallets as user base of Sandbox, 6.3 million users who own land, who own Sand, who own Avatar, valuable user that they can tap into and enables the owner of certain assets like our Avatar or land to use it to those games. So bridging a bit Web2 and Web3 and building a bigger gaming ecosystem supported by Sand. That's that vision will expand Sandbox and Sand powering a bigger gaming ecosystem, always with a mindset of like building it in a decentralized way. So Sandbox right now is more like the application layer, and we know like large application with large audience also can benefit from having like lower layer in a blockchain ecosystem where like users can build their depose their own decentralized app, access a token, and so like it makes a lot of sense for us to look into this project and keep growing in like a bigger ecosystem next year.
That's really cool. I wasn't aware of the extent to which people are adopting Sand outside of the Sandbox. There's probably some cool phrase there, marketing campaign for this year. But I guess the other side of it, you're working with bigger brands, bigger game developers. How do you keep the independent creator top of mind and balance that side of the equation?
So actually, yeah, we're going to bring massive entertainment franchise next year as well. They would even be very, very interesting. A lot of new gameplay coming up through that. And so like, how do you keep having on one side, like the top brands coming in, and on the other side, like be a platform that's UGC-centric? I think like they're not opposite actually, and that's one of our strengths. So like we bring brands and creators together. Through the brands, we inspire more and more creators to see like you can make your own game with Attack on Titan, with Terminator, with Stoop Dub, with like celebrities you enjoy, and like you cannot do games with them on any other platform out there. Even if there's brands collaboration on Fortnite and Roblox, you cannot do your own game with the official asset from the brand there. So we're going to continue launching those game jams supported by some of the brands or not. Like we also have like Build Paris, Build Tokyo, another idea. We'll have a new Builder Challenge. The Builder Challenge has been... So we launched earlier this year 2 Builder Challenge. They lasted 10 weeks and they offer over 1 million Sun in reward to the creator who publish content on their land and drive traffic to the platform. And it's been one of the most successful driver of more and more creator, because there is a good incentive for them to publish, but also because like we are providing a lot of the training and the education, the academy, the resource to our community as well. To onboard those creators. So it's a combination of both to support like new creators to keep entering the platform.
Yeah, that's great that you're trying to think about the independent creators as too, because I feel like they felt like they were getting lost as these bigger brands were entering the space. And I think that's led to this sort of more of a degen culture, but I think there is room for everyone, in the grander scheme with projects like Sandbox. So we know how the markets have responded to the political winds, a new administration. As we're speaking, Bitcoin has been dancing above 100K. That threshold that we all dreamed could happen. I think it was a sense of validation. And for all of us that told our friends that we were doing things in the blockchain industry and they thought we were crazy, to have Bitcoin over that 100K mark, pretty radical jump from 60K in a short amount of time. What are the longer term sort of implications, in your opinion, of this new administration on Web3 policies in the U.S. And how that will affect the global landscape? What are some of your biggest hopes from this change and your biggest fears?
Well, I think we're all pretty much optimistic of what's coming forward for the next 2 years in the US. There seems to be a signal that, like, both on the market side, but in general, like this new government in place is going to embrace more technology general and probably more crypto and Web3 as well. And that seems to be a good thing in terms of when we're doing specifically, because like we're working with brand, we're working with users, and so far the lack of clarity or the signal that's been sent by the US has been essentially driving away a lot of US entrepreneurs and a lot of US users to actually be able to interact with cryptocurrencies or with Web3 in general. Like, it sent a signal that it was something like very hard to work from the legal side and regulatory side. And so it really hinders the adoption from this side of the world. And
I think it's the ambiguity, right?
exactly. And whereas there is ambiguity somewhere, entrepreneurs are not going to wait for the ambiguity to be resolved. So a lot of like the talent in the US actually move to Dubai, move maybe to Saudi Arabia, let's say Asia, where like there's been much more clear framework around like what's possible and what's not possible regarding like virtual asset, digital asset, and so on. And Asia like really benefited from that. Hong Kong, Korea, we've seen Dubai with attracting a lot of user money and so on. And like I like that the US is not going to let that. Hopefully, will become committed in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen with our industry, give us a playbook and a set of rules, we'll figure it out. We'll do cool things. We'll keep innovating, but the ambiguity is stifling to innovation and the potential. We're happy to play by the rules. I think we've seen progress and with any rule book as long as the rules are defined. So this has been really cool. I want to hear what the audience has to say as well, but you've been on the show. We've done Edge Quick Hitters before, which is a part of our show where we get to know our interviewees a little bit better. But I had a couple fun questions that I haven't asked you before, and then we'll get the audience questions. So if your Sandbox avatar could have one superpower in real life, what would it be and why?
Hey listeners, are you ready to amplify your voice in a digital world? Introducing .podcast domains, your gateway to the future of online identity. Whether you're a creator, a company, or just someone with big ideas, .podcast is for you. Own your unique digital identity, connect securely, and explore hundreds of apps with no renewal fees. Don't wait for someone else to claim your name. Secure your .podcast domain today and be part of the next generation of content creation. Visit get.unstoppabledomains.com/podcast to get started. Again, that's get.unstoppabledomains.com/podcast. Your voice, your rules, your identity.
Hey, like, okay, we're in the US, you're thinking like the superpower I have is to be super cool, like can make a comic book around it and so on. I was thinking deep about that question. I think like just knowing that I can make an impact into people's life every day by like giving them this spark magic. Like you never thought you can make a game, like you could build your own, and now you can. And I've seen that impact, actually. There was, by meeting the creators, hearing their story. Recently, there was this documentary made in Philippines where like young students, like coming from very poor areas, didn't have access normally to school, etc. They were given this chance and like they discovered Voxedit, made a game, published it, and now think of like a whole different path for their life, for their career. So just like touching someone and allowing them to think like you can create something, be a creator.
I love that. And looking back, what advice would you give yourself when the sandbox was just an idea?
Well, maybe like when we did Sandbox in 2011 as a mobile game, it was not the only game that we were working on. So back then at Pixel, Mobile Game Studio, we were also doing CC builders, and we had a few successful games, even though Sandbox was really the top. And I think like my advice was like, just focus on the one thing that's the most successful and keep doubling down your effort on it.
Thank you. One last question. What's the one thing you hope people can take away from being here tonight, the Sandbox Awards earlier, this event around Sandbox in its future?
Future is bright. I think like we can all share the enthusiasm now, particularly in the US, and anything is possible. Like we've proven during this Sandbox Award that people who recently started making games could be recognized, could be showcased alongside major brands, be given like featuring toward hundreds of thousands of users, hopefully millions of users next year. So all of that is accessible, is doable. There is no magic. It's just one little thing that you need to do is like just like have that decision moment. Like I want to try that. I want to explore that. So be curious and like hopefully like see you in this space soon again.
Right on. Thank you very much.
We've reached the outer limit at the edge of show for today. Thanks for exploring with us. We have room for more adventurers on our starship, so invite your friends and cool strangers to join our journey. If you're among the hundreds of thousands following us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or watching us on Myco or YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, rate us, and make an awesome comment too. And don't forget to pass this episode along to a friend or two who would benefit from it. Doubling back to again, recommend checking out myco.io, where you can watch The Edge of Show and earn for your time and attention. That's myco.io. Don't forget to visit theedgeofshow.com. The is part of the domain name, where you can learn more about collaborating with us and also subscribe to the Edge of Weekly newsletter for the latest Web3 news, events, and show drops. In addition, connect with us on all major social platforms by searching for The Edge of Show. Join the exciting conversations happening online. Lastly, be sure to tune in next time for more great Web3 and AI content. Until then, keep pushing the boundaries. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The views and opinions expressed on The Edge of Show reflect solely those views and opinions of the show host and its guests. Please make sure to do your own research. Our show is not financial advice. You understand that you are using any and all information on or through this podcast at your own risk. Whenever making financial decisions, we recommend doing your own research and talking to your accountant for financial advice. From time to time, we may feature sponsored content on the show for which we receive value, and we may share links for which we receive a commission if you make a purchase through one of these links. Refer to our website, www.edgeofnft.com, for our full disclaimer, terms and conditions, and privacy policy.